Hi, in this video series, we are going to learn how to build a simple HTML5 Canvas game using Adobe Animate. I call this balloon shooting game.
Now the game is going to look something like this. So you have gun and random balloons are flowing, and you can press spacebar to pop balloons, and then you have limited ammunitions, and then depending on number of hits, um, you get the scores. So we'll try to build this game in Adobe Animate. Now, you will need a script which you can download from my GitHub repo, and I will post a link for this in the description section. So this game manager.js is the file that you will need to build this game. This has some um, the main class is animate game manager, and it has few utility functions like for a function for creating game object given the symbol function initial positions. Then if you want to make it a parent of a child of some other symbol, then you can specify the tweens. Then if it is a rigid body, and then scale. And then it has a few functions for adding and removing listeners, then a utility function for detecting collisions, and there are a few other functions like get random numbers between the range, and then functions for playing the sound or stopping the sound. So there are a number of utility functions which are typically required for creating the game of this kind, and this is the file that you will need to include in your Animate project. So we'll start with a new project in Animate. This game is going to work only for HTML5 Canvas document type, because the game library that I just showed you uses some of the create.js functions. So let's start creating a new document. HTML5 Canvas document. Click create, and the first thing I'm going to do is just save this. So I have saved this file as balloon shooting game, and let's increase the size of the the stage. I'll make it, let's make it 900 by 600. All right. And another thing I'm going to do is go to publish settings, and I'm going to click center stage, and I'm going to save all the output in a folder called output. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is to import assets required for this game. So the first one is the gun. All right. It's a huge one, so let me just resize. Okay, that seems fine. And then selecting the transform tool, I'm going to orient this. Okay. The next one is the balloon picture. This also I'm going to resize. This also I'm going to resize. So hold and shift. I'm going to resize. I think this is fine. And the last one is the bullet. Now, I don't have image for bullet, so I'm just going to create a bullet shape. So I'll select oval tool. Let's see, yeah, this one. And I'm going to select this and convert to symbol. So click convert to symbol here. I'm going to name this bullet sim. I want registration point to be at the center, and this is going to be movie clip. I will also name this instance called bullet. All right, so we have a bullet symbol here. Let me just change the fill color to, let's say, silver. Okay. Now I'm going to create symbols for the remaining two assets also. So click on gun and convert to symbol, and I'm going to call this a toy gun symbol, and this one is going to be, click on the symbol icon again, and this is going to be balloon sim. All right, now initially only the gun is going to be visible on the stage, and these two assets are going to be created dynamically. So we don't really need these two assets on the stage initially, but we need to have it on the stage because Animate has optimization where any of the symbols is not used in this on the stage, then it's excluded from publishing. So to make sure that Animate publishes these symbols, we need to have them on the stage, and then we will hide them um, on the first frame. So let's see how this looks. Just to, this is the initial state. It's looking all white, so let's give a background color to the stage. So click on anywhere on the stage, white area of the stage, and let's say, yeah, this color. Okay. So this is how it looks now. All right. So next step is we'll start writing scripts now. This is going to be a very script heavy demo. So I'm going to press F9. Now let me first go to timeline and rename this layer. I'm going to call this gun layer. I'm going to add another layer, call it scripts. And from the first frame of this layer, I'm going to press F9, and this opens Actions Editor. Now since we are going to write a lot of scripts, I want to keep this panel open. So let me dock it to the right. Okay. And this is fit in window, fine. The resize is a bit, yeah, that's about right. So I'm going to click on the first frame of script, and the first thing I want to do is I'm going to call init app and pass a library. So library has access. This library object contains actually the symbols that are exported from your document. and only the scripts in the frame have access to the library. So from this function, I am passing the reference to that library so that functions outside the frame scripts also have access to this library. Now we haven't yet written the init app. This is the only function that I'm going to write in the frame script. All other scripts are going to be global. So I'm going to make this a global function. So click on global scripts, function, say glib, and sorry, okay, init app. And I'm going to save this reference to this library. Okay. Now I'm going to name the instance of this balloon. So I'm going to call this balloon, and this gun instance is called gun. So with all the instances named, I can reference them from the script. Okay. The first thing we need to do is, once the game starts, we want to hide this one instance of balloon and the bullet, because we want bullet to be fired from the gun. So the main timeline of the document is exported as export root variable. From this variable, we can access symbols on the main timeline. So I'm going to say export root dot bullet dot visible is equal to export root dot balloon dot visible is equal to false. So we are going, so this is, these two lines will hide these two instances of the symbol. So let's see if that is happening. Yeah, so so this is working. So we have only gun visible on the stage initially, and then these two symbols are invisible. The balloon and the bullet symbols are invisible. Okay. So the next step is firing bullet from the gun whenever you press spacebar. So for that, I need to register few event listener. In fact, one event listener for when user presses key down. So I'm going to create a function called register event listeners, and I'm going to add a listener on document object. So whenever key is down on document object, this function will be called. And what do we want to do in this function? First, we check if the key pressed is a space bar. So we do that by checking. So we get the event object as the argument to this function, and we check if the event.key is space. And if it is space, we want to fire bullet. We want to call a function fire bullet. So this one, we haven't written this function yet, which is the next step that we are going to do. Okay. So this is the fire bullet function, and we are going to create the instance of bullet dynamically. Okay. And that this is where we are going to use the library that I just mentioned at the beginning. So first thing is we need to include that JS file as a global script. So global include, click on the plus sign, add file, browse the folder where you have downloaded gamemanager.js, select that. Okay, so we can now use the objects or functions in this library. So what we are going to do now is we are going to use Adobe Animate Game Manager GM Game Manager object from this library, and we are going to call create game object, and there are number of arguments to this. The first one is which symbol we are going to instantiate. So the name of the symbol, if you go to library, here you have names of these symbols, all the symbols in your documents. The symbol that we want to create is bullet, so it's bullet underscore sim. And remember, this is accessed through library, so we will access lib dot bullet underscore sim. So this is the symbol that we are going to create here. What is the X? Next one is the X position. So for now, I'll just put X here and Y here, and we will see what those values are. The next argument is whether you want to make this game object child of another game object. So right now I don't want this to be child of anything, so I'll pass null. And then you pass array of tweens. Okay. So what is array of tweens? So once the bullet is launched, we want to launch the bullet from the tip of the gun, and it should move up beyond the stage. Okay. So the tween that we want to create here is from whatever the initial position of the bullet, which is going to be specified by X and Y, we want to move it some value beyond the top of the stage, and the top of the stage, at the top of the stage, value of Y is 0. Okay, so let's say we want to move the bullet beyond 0, say, let's say to -10, somewhere here. Okay, so the tween is going to be and tween is an object, so the Y coordinate, the end Y coordinate of the bullet should be -10, and next one is what is the time during which you want to cover this distance. So let's create first a variable for that. We will call this bullet tween time. This will also determine speed of the bullet. For now, I'll set it to 10, and I will add this to the tween data. So this is one tween data. I mean, here you can have number of objects, and then you can have various tween data passed as array of arrays. So for now, it is enough to understand this statement. What we are doing is, from whatever the initial position of the bullet, we are adding a tween, so that at the end of the tween, the bullet position is -10, Y position is -10, and that tween should happen during this time, bullet tween time, which I have set to 10 seconds. Okay, so let's see now what should be the X and Y position. Now X and Y position needs to be relative to the gun. So we want actually the bullet to start somewhere here. Okay, so let's see how to set the so this is the origin of the gun. So we will set the position of the bullet relative to the origin of the gun. Now to calculate the position little more accurately, I will add guides to the on the stage. And for that, first I need to set the ruler, and let's say this is, I'll first set the ruler at the origin of the gun, and the next one is horizontal ruler at the origin of the gun, and then I will set one guide at approximately origin of the bullet, and the second one horizontal one at the origin of the bullet. Now let's see. We can't find out coordinates of from the script. We will know the x and y coordinates of the gun. Relative to that, what should be the position of the bullet? So if you double click on the guide layer, or rather guide, you will see the position in pixels here. So the x position here is 453, and this guide is approximately 477. So the gap is approximately 24 pixels. So what we'll do, we go to the script, and our x position is going to be whatever the position of gun dot x minus 24, and y position, so this y position is 519, and this one is 552, 452. So this distance is approximately 67. So this is going to be the y position of the gun minus, let's say, 67. All right. Now once we create the instance, let's save this instance in a variable called bullet, and we are going to tag this instance. So we'll say bullet dot set tag name is bullet, and we will see why we are doing this and how to use the tag name later. Okay. So we have registered the event listener for key down, and when user presses spacebar, we are firing a bullet. So final thing is we need to call this from our init app function, which is the starting function of our game. All right, let's test this. So this is not working as expected. I'm pressing spacebar, but bullet is not getting fired. So let's debug. Okay, this should be gun x plus 24. There is a error here. So y should be, all the attributes should be in curly braces, and the last parameter to this to in data is the time. So time is not part of the object. So let's test this. And I'm going to press the space bar, and you see the bullet is being fired from the gun, and it's fired from the proper location. So that's great. Let's now move to the next step, which is creating balloons. Okay, so balloons are created at regular intervals. So we will create a function called spawn balloon. Okay, spawn balloons, and the process is similar to creating creating game object for the bullet. We are going to use the same function, and name of the symbol is this one, balloon underscore sym. So it's going to be lib dot balloon underscore sym, and then x position, y position, and again this is not going to be child of any symbol, so I'll set this to null, and then the tween data. Now okay, before we add the tween data, let's work on x and y positions for the balloon. Now we want balloon to start from the left of the stage. So somewhere here, this is the 0 of the stage, x0. So let's say this is x minus 10. So let's say we want to start from minus 10. So we'll say x is minus 10, and y is, we want y to be anything, any value randomly between say 10, y10 till the middle of the stage. Okay, so any value, any random value between the upper half of the stage. So you can access the stage size through library variable. So it's lib.properties.height will give you height of the stage, and lib.properties.width will give you the width of the stage. So the y is going to be, we are going to use the utility function that we saw in the game manager script. This is Adobe Animate GM, which is in the file that we included globally. There is a function called get random number, and it returns random number given in the given range. So first one is the minimum, and the second argument is max. So the minimum is we want y somewhere at say 10. Okay, so between 10 and half of the stage height. So which is going to be half of the stage height is lib.properties.height divided by 2. Okay, so our x and y is set. Now, how do you want balloon to move? So balloon starting position is x is going to be minus 10 somewhere here, y is going to be any value in the upper half of the stage, and from there we want balloon to move to the right through this way out of the stage, completely out of the stage. So the x value from tween should tween from minus 10 to the width of the stage plus some value. Okay, and again we will create array of arrays for specifying the tween, and the first argument is the x value. So let's say I want x to be the width of the stage plus 20, so it should go beyond the right edge of the stage, and it should cover this distance in some certain time. So let's call this time as balloon tween time, so that this will also determine the speed of the balloon. So this one I'm going to set it to 40. So balloon is going to move slower than the bullet. Okay. Okay. Next, the balloons are still not going to be visible because we have just written the function and we are not calling the function yet. So balloons are to be spawned at regular interval, and a function to do that in JavaScript is called set interval. So at a particular interval, it will keep calling that function. So we will use that function. So it's set interval, and specify the function to be called. Okay, we can directly call spawn balloon. So this is the function that is going to be called at regular intervals. And the interval that we want to set is say 1 second. This is in milliseconds, so 1000 milliseconds is 1 second. And we want to save the handle. This set interval returns a handle which you can use to cancel the loop if you want. So we are going to save this in a variable. And let's declare that variable here. Okay. So now let's test this. All right, so balloons are being spawned as expected. So they go from -10 to somewhere outside the stage, +20, I guess. And they are appearing randomly in the upper half of the stage. And bullets are also working. Now, the next step is when bullet hits the balloon, we need to destroy the balloon. And we will do that in the next video.